Welcome back to Our Issues Milwaukee. I'm your host, Andrea Williams. We are here at the Mitchell Park Domes on Milwaukee's south side in the beautifully decorated Show Dome, where the theme is, for the holiday season, a Hawaiian Christmas. The domes are open Monday through Friday from 9 to 5 p.m. and Saturday, Sunday, and major holidays from 9 till 4. Call 414-257-5611 for more information on all the exciting things happening here at the domes, or simply log on to milwaukeedomes.org. And we have the privilege this morning of being joined by members of the legendary Super Bowl 31 team. This doesn't happen every day.
Not all the time. It's great though.
And a couple of you guys have been here recently, so I'm happy to welcome back George Koonce.
It's a pleasure to be here.
And of course, the grave digger himself, Gilbert Brown.
Hello.
And the man who is credited with creating the Lambeau Leap, LeRoy Butler.
I'll speak for Gilbert because he doesn't speak a lot. He said good morning to everyone. That's what he doesn't say a lot.
Oh, shoot. Hey, guys, we really are here for something special today. A lot of people may not realize it, but the man that we knew as the Minister of Defense, the late, great Reggie White, coming up on December 19th. That's going to mark what would have been his 53rd birthday.
53rd birthday.
Yeah, and December 26th will mark the 10th anniversary of his death. And you guys wanted to come together and pay tribute to the Minister of Defense. And George, this is really your idea. Why is this so important for you?
Well, I think that Reginald Howard White was so instrumental with us and also with our organization with the Packers, because I think he really truly laid the foundation that the Packers are currently standing on right now. And I think it was to our best interest to really honor someone that really meant so much to us. And so I'm really happy, and I really appreciate you taking the time to have us on to talk about someone that really meant so much to us.
Yeah, and it just really goes to show when people see you guys, they get excited because you bring back happy memories for them, and watching the Pack go through the playoffs and then on to the Super Bowl, then win it and bring it back here, that Lombardi trophy. So it really is special, I think, for our viewers who are fans of the Packers to hear what you guys have to say about Reggie White. And he played football for the University of Tennessee. He was recognized as an All-American. He played 15 seasons in the NFL with Philadelphia, the Panthers, and needless to say, the Packers. And he's recognized as one of the most decorated players ever in the NFL. So I can try to go down the list of all of the accolades that goes along with him. 13-time Pro Bowler.
We'll be here all day. If we talked about his accolades, we'll be here all day talking about
2 times NFL Defensive Player of the Year, Green Bay Packers Hall of Fame, Pro Football Hall of Fame, Eagles Hall of Fame, 1,112 tackles and 198 career sacks. So that's just the tip of the iceberg. So want to know, what are your favorite memories involving Reggie White?
I think for me it was a little emotional. Because it's always with Reggie, where were you when it happened? Not so much his death, but I just remember going into the locker room, because I was there in 1990 and we weren't very good with the Packers. And I remember seeing Reggie in like 1993, he was sitting there talking to Doc McKenzie, going through his physical. And I remember doing a double take, like, Reggie White's. I thought he was in San Francisco. There was reports he was going there, and I actually had to go in there and I was starstruck. I really was. I said, this is Reggie White. I mean, this is awesome. I remember him telling me that the Lord gave him a signal to go to Green Bay. And every day I said, thank you, Lord. Now we all got Super Bowl rings. But Gilbert spent the most time with him because in the meeting room, saw him every day. And maybe Gilbert can talk about every day just interacting with Reggie, how special it was.
Yeah, Gilbert.
It was a very special connection, because, you know, coming in '93, I was a rookie, and coming from an unknown source of purple, we got to Green Bay. First time I saw him, I seen him on TV growing up and everything, but I wanted to stick to him like a sponge, because I knew I would get knowledge and I know I would get things that would help me along my career. But everybody always would talk about the presence of Reggie in the Bible and how hard does he hit you with it, and how hard. it was never like that. In meetings or where, the only time that you would hear it is if you was like one of these two heathens right here, or if it's something, if you asked for it. But I mean, he wasn't the type of guy that was gonna push it on you. You know, I mean, you'll hear him say things to himself or whatever, but you knew that Reggie White was pure when it came to that, because you got fake guys out there that, oh, I read the Bible and I do this and I do that, but Reggie was gold.
He felt that it was a balance that you had to have with a sport that we're playing, that you could actually lose your life. He thought it was a spiritual part of it. And I just remember Reggie trying to get connection to guys to go to Bible study. And he said, how do you do it? I said, well, one of the ways you can do it is go on their turf and bring them back. And that's what Jesus did. So we, on Thursday night, we would all get together and have wing night and drink and stuff like that. And Reggie showed up to the bar. And he actually was like interacting with guys, and after that, guys started reaching out to him for spiritual advice. And there was the connection. And guess what, Andrea? We started to win. Because it was a losing culture, because we got all these different personalities. And what Reggie did was bring all these personalities together for one collective goal. To win a Super Bowl.
I love that. And you have to have a memory because,
well,
I mean, you were in the
Koonce
locker
was
room
his favorite.
too.
That was Reggie's favorite.
Really?
I'm telling you,
Reggie loved everybody in the locker room, but not only
he really loved
not only one thing about Reggie, not only was he a mentor to me on the field, but he was really instrumental in what I'm doing now and raising money, trying to give other people, other students, an opportunity to live out the American dream. And I look at what LeRoy does, and I look at what Gilbert Brown does, and Chris Jackie. We're all about trying to help the community, trying to make it a little bit better than what it was in which we found it. And so I'm so thankful for Reggie. I'm so thankful he came to the Green Bay Packers. He really changed the whole paradigm. And the culture hasn't, the franchise hasn't looked back since. And very, very fortunate to win the Super Bowl, Reggie. We could have won another one. But his memory is still living within us, because we're still talking about him. We're going to keep his memory, his name alive. And I think it's, I think we all feel that way about Reggie.
Yeah, and speaking of Super Bowl 31, let's take you back to that day, January 26, 1997. The place was the Louisiana Superdome. Luther Vandross sung the national anthem.
That was awesome.
The halftime show was the Blues Brothers, James Brown, and ZZ Top. And you guys beat the Patriots 35-21.
One thing about the national anthem, when Luther sung it, I remember.
It was little Luther now, not big Luther.
Because Wayne Simmons told me, Luther, you got to stop losing all that weight. And I thought I was going to die laughing.
But just look at that. Just 10 years has gone by, and we've lost Luther, Reggie, and James Brown. It just
Michael
really,
Jackson.
I mean, but these people were all at that Super Bowl, and they're gone. You know,
fantastic.
It just goes to show, you know, just how short life is, but it's so important what footprints we leave while we're here, and that is exactly why we're talking about Reggie White. So take us back to that experience, you guys. I mean, in the locker room, what were you thinking?
I tell you what, as a defender, Reggie White had a point in the game the way he took it over. He had 3 sacks. And I just remember looking at him, and he had this look in his eye, because remember, it was his first chance going out of the Super Bowl. And he played on some great teams in Philly, but they never had this type of a team. And I remember, I always make the guys laugh about it. I remember when he got his 2nd sack, he was celebrating. And there's a picture of me, I jumped on top of him. And people couldn't hear what he said. Get off me, fool, I'm tired. I said, let's celebrate. He said, I'm too tired to celebrate. But people thought we were saying football stuff. And I went and told Sean Jones that, and Ron Cox, and they just laughed, because if you go back to that game, it was a point in that game, they were winning, and they had the momentum. But Reggie's 2nd sack, it changed the whole complexion of the game. And again, without Reggie White, Gilbert Brown, Santana Dotson, I mean, we had the best front four, but it started with Reggie White. But the way Gilbert, they guys controlled that front, I think it made Reggie understand he was a part of a great defense, Gilbert.
Right.
Absolutely.
And he made everybody around him better.
Absolutely.
One thing about Reggie.
Absolutely.
I remember one time he told me, Reggie said, Koonce, if you learn how to play off me, you can make some money in this league. Well, I'm going to take your advice and do that.
The thing that we all know that Reggie White made us better, and I figured that out for myself during that season is where, you know, as a defensive lineman, I'm a heavy set guy, you know, so I get tired from time to time, you know.
Right.
But you're a good heavy set, though. You're a good heavy set. Now. You ain't no heavy set.
I look down the line, and I'm dog tired, and I see Reggie White with his hands on his hips, standing tall, waiting for the next play. Made me stand tall, put my hands on my hip, and get ready for the next play. Influence that he didn't even have to say. Just vision makes you play harder. Right.
And how old was Reggie on the field at that time? Because we always hear
he
NFL.
Was in his early 30s, though.
Yeah, you hear not for long. That's what you guys refer to the NFL.
That's a fantastic question, because we were thinking Reggie was towards the end of his career, and back then, you know, alignment didn't play a whole lot. I know Gilbert went through a couple major knee surgeries and continued to play, but we thought this is our last opportunity to win the Super Bowl. Right. And I think it may be one of the few times the #1 offense, #1 defense played in the Super Bowl, and we never forgot about that. But one thing that I never thought about, Gilbert, how was he in the meeting room? Because people see this serious side of Reggie, but in the meeting room, and Larry Brooks was their coach, and Larry was a very quiet guy.
And Fritz Sherman, the defensive coordinator.
Right.
Was,
but how was he in the locker room? I mean, y'all meeting room?
That was the thing that was special to us, because not only do you have Fritz would always come down to our meeting room, because Fritz believed that it always starts up front.
That's how defensive coordinator.
That was the foundation,
It always starts up front. Right. And then we had a defensive line coach that was just like down south, you know. And we had a mixture in that room, but Reggie is always the catalyst. He's the lead dog, and we all follow behind him. So in our meeting rooms, you know, sometimes we serious and sometimes we have fun, but most of the time when we get breaks, we're talking about food or life, or we have some dude trying to out-joke Reggie in the room. It's just, it was just, but once Reggie said, stop, let's get to work,
it's time to go to work.
We go to work.
So the ultimate leader.
Yes.
Yeah.
On and off the field.
On and off the field. That's pretty special. So I think that one thing that is stand out in everybody's mind when you guys won the Super Bowl, that post-game, Reggie running around the Superdome with that trophy on top of his head. Like, it gives you chill bumps because you knew that that was like, out of all the great things he had accomplished in his career, that was his first real championship.
And I think once you saw Lombardi's name on that trophy, it was very emotional. And you could see all the camera guys, hundreds of camera guys following Reggie. They're falling down and just knowing that you get to the pinnacle of your career and you're holding that trophy. I mean, you could just see it on Reggie's face that this is what I play for. But he was just so unselfish about it. I mean, he wanted, because we were saying we wanted to win it for Reggie, but at the same time, Reggie was like, no, this is the reason why I came to Green Bay.
That's right.
Small market team, you know, one of the oldest teams ever. But to come here and play with you guys is unbelievable. And he made it very emotional.
Yeah.
You know,
and I've had, you know, some really interesting and odd opportunities when it comes to the Packers. I remember when Brett Favre, he opened his steakhouse downtown Milwaukee, and I had gone to the grand opening, and who's standing there talking but Brett Favre and Reggie White. And of course, I slid right in the middle and got a picture. And you just really, I don't think I really knew what type of photo I was taking. I had just moved to Milwaukee. I just knew this is the guys they talk about all the time.
Two legends,
you know, so
what we need to do, we need to start a movement and have April the 6th. That needs to be Reggie White's day, because that's the day he signed with the Green Bay Packers back in 1993.
No question.
That needs to be across the state of Wisconsin, Reggie White Day, April the 6th, because he means so much to us. And we need to honor him and recognize what he meant to us, even though he's gone. And we really appreciate everything he done for us.
And Ron Wolf said it best when he talked to Reggie's agent. I think it was Jimmy Sexton. He said Reggie can go anywhere and be a great player, but he can come to Green Bay and be a legend. And that's what made him sign. Because no one's, all the pitches from all these teams, like, well, you know, he was touring and visiting, but the only one, Ron Wolf said, you can change the whole culture of this team.
Yeah.
And I remember being in that meeting after we beat Minnesota in 1992. I mean, that was our last game for Lindy Infante. And when Reggie got there, things just kind of changed. And I agree with Koonce. That was the day that everything changed, and they have not looked back since.
Plus, he knew he was going to look good in green.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So I'm wondering, I'm looking at all of your hands right now. When do you pull out your Super Bowl ring?
Oh, special.
Special
Just
occasion.
special occasions.
Yeah,
you just
know,
don't
like
ride around with
anytime
it
you wear
every
a
day.
tuxedo, you wear it. Yeah, if you wear a tuxedo, you should wear. For me, I mean, it's special. What about you? Yeah, you can't just wear it with. Yeah.
Right.
So there are special occasions that you pull it out and wear.
Whenever I put that tuxedo on, I put that Super Bowl ring on. So I'm probably going to be wearing it on Friday night.
I told people the other day, they're like, why you don't wear your ring? And I said, it's like that movie, The Hobbit. It's my precious.
Yes. That's right. That's right.
My precious.
So where do you keep it?
Oh, I keep it in my briefcase.
What are you trying?
In your briefcase?
Yeah, and in one of the side pockets.
Okay, that's different, right?
What are you, a burglar? Why you want to know where we keep it? I think
I'm just wondering, like, do you keep it on some type of pedestal in your
My
house?
mama got mine.
Your
My
mom
mama
has
got mine.
yours?
Yeah.
See there?
That's the safest place ever.
See, LeRoy?
No, you're right. Safe deposit box for me. But, you know, I will say this. You got to put a safe deposit box right next to the wheel. Yeah, to me, you remember Matt LeBounty?
Oh, yeah.
Matt LeBounty? He was going through the Jacksonville airport, and this really scared me. He's going through the Jacksonville airport. And this was along the time when, you know, 9/11, the flying, you couldn't fly out. So he took his ring off and had to go through. He left it at the airport.
Oh.
There's a young lady that went to church with me, knew it. And she said, I know who this ring belongs to. Because they didn't know what to do with it. And she called me up. She said, there's a young man left his Super Bowl ring. I said, how do you know? It says, got the G, and she described me. It looked just like yours. I said, oh, I'll be down there. And it was Matt LeBounty's ring.
Okay.
Wow.
And I called, I said, dude, I got your ring. And he was devastated because he got on the flight. He said, I'm missing something. Ever since guys, a story like that, you just kind of put it up. Right. But we were able to get it back to him. And he's told that story many times. I helped him retrieve it. But it's a lot of guys lose them. So at the same time,
yeah, that's like you lose sleep after you lose something like that because you just doesn't happen again. But for you guys, you did go back to the Super Bowl back to back.
People can Google that. We don't want to talk
about that, of course.
That's a whole nother show.
But it was fun to go back-to-back Super Bowls, and Reggie really enjoyed that process as well. So, and again, it put Green Bay where we were trying to go. That was an ascending organization.
Yes, and Reggie White's number 92 was retired by the Eagles and the Packers. He became the first player in NFL history to have his number officially retired by multiple teams, and that was in 2005. So it's like everything about him really does stand out from the rest. He's just a really extraordinary individual and deserves to be remembered. So it was the day after Christmas, as I mentioned, in 2004 that we lost Reggie. He suffered a fatal cardiac arrhythmia, and it's believed that the cardiac and pulmonary sarcoidosis and sleep apnea that he lived with played a role as well. Did you guys know that he had those type of issues?
I knew he had sarcoidosis because I was diagnosed in '93 with it. And Reggie White was diagnosed in 1994. It's supposed to be common in African Americans from the Southeast. They don't know if it's from trees, or it can come from out of nowhere, and then it can stay and it can leave.
Wow.
And so it's inflammation in the lungs. So I have 2 tumors in my lungs today, which is in remission. But Reggie White spread to his heart, whereas mine has spread to my eyes. LeRoy was talking earlier about why do I wear glasses. That's one of the reasons, because of sarcoidosis. Reggie White spread to his heart and made it weaker. Then with the whole sleep apnea, he passed away.
Yeah, but see, I knew he had the mask, and because I knew he snored a lot, but we all do. We all snore a lot. And I was trying to understand because my uncle he has to sleep with a mask on to keep his breathing up. And I thought maybe if his mask had come off, maybe that contributed to it, but it was just devastating. I remember where I was, and I told my 2 girls, because Reggie used to walk out of the locker room with my 2 girls on his shoulders. I mean, they were young, they were like 9 and 10, they didn't know I love Reggie, but when they heard that news, They were devastated. And they were devastated. It's almost like losing a family member. They couldn't understand it. And I was trying to explain to them. Matter of fact, we was on our way to church. And it was just one of these things I'll never forget. Do you remember where you were when you heard the news?
Absolutely. I was sitting there watching Sports Center, and it came across the bottom of the screen.
Oh.
That's when I found out. But the thing that hurts me is I think it was the night before he took the kids to go see the movie Fat Albert.
Oh yeah, right.
And my youngest kid today loves that movie.
Yeah.
So every time he turns that movie on, it hits me. That's the day. That was the day we lost Reggie White.
Wow. And you?
I was home. I was in North Carolina. I was watching Sports Center, and I seen it come across the ticker.
Yeah.
And I was devastated because Reggie called me probably about a month prior to that to ask me. He called me around 6:30 in the morning on a Saturday, asked me when the last time I talked to Doug Evans.
Right.
And
he loved Doug.
He loved Doug, and he had a joke to tell me. And I can't.
Yeah.
The joke I can't tell it on television.
That's all
We
right.
have to edit it out.
But yeah, we had to edit that out. But he called me. Reggie was something else.
Something special.
He called me Saturday. He called me Saturday morning at 6:30 to ask me, have I talked to Doug Evans, and if I didn't, did I know that? Boom, boom, boom. But Reggie was awesome. Man. He was funny. I laughed all day.
He was a difference maker.
Yeah.
If you look at some of the issues that you see now in the league, like the bullying that Miami went through, a lot of these things, Reggie, being a leader, would take care of a lot of those problems to where it wouldn't even get in the media. Because I remember we talked about leadership, and I used to always tell Reggie, you know, you got to be a leader, not a follower, but you once had to be a good follower. And we followed Reggie. We knew his everything. So when he went to Carolina, we were able to be leaders ourselves. But it was just something missing and whole in our hearts when he left.
Yeah, I can only imagine because you guys all knew him personally.
Right.
Yeah.
The Packer fans, they felt like they lost a family member as well. So it just really goes to show just how much he stood out in the minds and the hearts of those people who love the Pack. And so it goes without saying, I appreciate you guys so much for coming by today.
We appreciate you because it's a fantastic idea, but you having us a part of this, it may be the only networks doing it. And we just appreciate it because we always want to pour out and talk about Reggie, but we never get the opportunity.
Yeah.
So this will be very, very much high, someplace in my heart, because I get a chance, maybe the first time publicly talking about Reggie and the way that, what it meant to us, and all three of us on the same set. So thank you very much.
Appreciate your leadership. Thank you.
All right. Appreciate it. My man.
It was fun.
Creator of the Lambeau Leap and Packer Hall of Famer LeRoy Butler, the grave digger himself, number 93,
with the mask
Packer
on,
Hall of Famer,
Gilbert
Brown, and my man here, always buttoned up, and the ultimate gentleman, George Koonce, number 53.
Yes,
you guys, it's so obvious that you weren't just a football team. You are a family, and I thank you again for stopping by. That is going to do it for today's show. I am your host, Andrea Williams. A huge thank you to our friends here at the Mitchell Park Domes for allowing us to tape our show here today. And as always, we thank you for watching. I hope you join us again next week as we take yet another look at our issues. Milwaukee, happy holidays.